Hey Troopers, welcome to the Wilson Chips Top 10 Picks of Worst Video Games for 2015. A few ground rules. I won't be covering remakes, re-releases, or remasters with this one. And with that out of the way, let me also tell you that these are just our picks, so feel free to disagree and comment down below about what you think should be on the list. We honestly respect your opinions. And without any further unnecessary blah blah blahs, let's begin. Coming in comfortably at number 10 is Hatred. Now, Hatred has been one of the most controversial games of 2015. And generally, controversial games end up in controversies for being good at what they do. And unfortunately, Hatred isn't one among them. In Hatred, you play as a nameless killer who aims to wipe out humanity out of, well, hatred for humanity. Sounds cool, right? We thought so too. Until we played the game, that is. Hatred ended up being monotonous and just downright bad. I mean, the visuals are so boring, there's a tragic voice acting going on, and the gameplay is just monotonous. The gameplay mechanics is uninspiring, and to make sure the game sells well, the developers hyped it up to such an extent that we all were expecting a huge, awesome game, and it just fell flat on its face. And all these make sure that Hatred receives a head start into the top 10 worst games of 2015. And with that, we move on to the number 9, The Order of 1886. Now, the demo for The Order of 1886 was fantastic. And as much as we wanted this game to be awesome, it just isn't, and there's no denying that. No matter how good the visuals are and how much the game attempts to give that cinematic feel, it's just too short. Clocking in at merely 6 hours, this game had so much promise with its dark style of storytelling and the added historic tint along with the stylish guns we saw in the demos, but it fell short when it came to delivering the awesome experience. The game was just too short. It was filled with tons of forced walking sessions, having the need to fight more boring people than awesome creatures, and to top everything off, it finishes off with a sequel-based ending. I mean, come on guys, when you're charging a full retail price for a game, at least make it worthwhile. There's very little replayability to the game. It can hardly be played just once. I mean, just once is like too boring. I had to quit playing it, seriously. We at least hope the sequel improves upon the shortcomings of the Order of 1886 and finally gives us a game that we actually deserve. Let's move on. Number 8. And speaking about guys better than what they are, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. Oh boy, where do I begin? Back in the day, skateboarding games were kind of fun and awesome. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 can be regarded as one of the best skateboarding games of all time. And the Pro Skater 5 takes a huge dump on the franchise. Seriously, instead of reviving the franchise, it just killed it with poor game mechanics, awful graphics, and glitches. My god, so many glitches. In the end, giving us a boring game environment and just being downright poor when it comes to controls. The game basically looks like it's been ported from the 2000 era with PS2-like graphics and character modeling. That's only complemented by its bizarre physics and uninspiring game modes. I mean, seriously, acceleration and deceleration for no reason? There's no rule in the game. You randomly accelerate and you randomly decelerate. I mean, god, where's the physics? How can you turn like that on the corners? That's not possible. This is 2015, guys, come on. And couple all this and we have a game that looks promising, but again, falls flat on its face. Whew. God, that's frustrating. And speaking about falling flat on its face, we have the Godzilla 2015. This game had a lot of expectations. I mean, it's a Godzilla game for God's sake. It's a game that fans would literally buy without any questions. Seriously, no questions asked, just take my money. And it's one of those high-profile games that excites a ton of people and has a ton of fan following. But unfortunately, the game was a mess. Despite being able to wreck cities and fight monsters that kindle your fond memories from childhood, the game fails to capture the imagination and the awesomeness that Godzilla is. The game is too slow. I mean, it's really slow. It's a combat game that's just too darn slow to find it enjoyable. And couple that with almost zero blocking mechanism. Seriously, you can't even block a move. You just let him punch on your face and take it. I mean, you're a freaking Godzilla. You should be able to stop that. Come on, guys. I'm really tired of doing this list. Ugh. And finally, couple all the zero blocking mechanism and the combat game that just really sucks while being slow. With all the poor graphics that looks like it's straight out of the 2000 era and the multiplayer mode, which absolutely sucks because you're the only one playing it and you got one heck of a disappointing, boring game. And do not call your friends over for playing this. Seriously, they will curse you to hell. And speaking about hell, coming in at number 6 is Taken. Taken represents the first person horror games. Wow, a genre which has been overexploited in the recent days. Yes, this is just another game that banks on the stereotypical horror approach with an evil girl. But only this time, this evil girl is either half stuck behind a stupid cage or half stuck inside a wall. And by the way, that's a glitch and not a feature. Ugh. The visuals are poor, to say the least, and they make it seriously difficult for the player to differentiate between a flower and a leaf. Damn it, god damn, talk about poor textures. And the Taken also feels lazily put together and lacks any kind of real feeling of fear to it. I mean, the AI is so poor that the girl wouldn't even deliberately try to kill you. For God's sake, she's just standing there. Unless you throw yourself into her arms, she's not going to kill you. And you can't really throw yourself into her arms because it's a poorly developed game that's lazily put together. And if that isn't lazy development, we don't know what is. But not just taking a shot at Taken over here, but we're also taking a shot at one of Steam's lack of quality control. Seriously guys, if you guys are listening to this, please ramp up your quality control. Level up guys, it's seriously bad. The green light system is pathetic. We usually face bugs, glitches, broken games, and it bores us. I mean, we don't even want to play that game again anymore, even if it's fixed. So if you're hearing this, please take care of it. And moving on. Walking in majestically at number 5 is the Assassin's Creed and Pirates of Caribbean amalgamation, The Raven's Cry. The Raven's Cry is a game that actually looked promising. Because of, I mean, its pirate-based theme. Who doesn't like pirates? Come on. But it turned out to be ugly, like all of the other games. When the game was launched, the game was downright buggy, with terrible glitches, missing dialogues, missing audio logs, and missing graphics at certain places. The graphics in general was average for 2015. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. But with such a low production value, one can only do so much. So I wouldn't go as far as to say they were so bad, but it wasn't just the graphics that was bad, but the gameplay in general was pretty weird and the controls weren't comfortable either. On top of that, glitches like changing character sizes with different chapters and environments were a huge distraction. I mean, they change sizes, they change proportions. Graphics being bad is just one thing, but changing a character's size with respect to the other character's size is just borderline dumb. How lazy can you be? Come on, guys. I mean, it's somehow they managed to turn up the proportions. How's that even possible in the game? I know that's possible in the game, but why would you want to do that? Moving on. The game felt unfinished. This is one of the main reasons Raven's Cry makes us cry. See what I did there? It just feels damn unfinished, and it's atrocious that people have the audacity to ask for a full retail price for this garbage. Don't buy this, it's a dumb game. And this is just my opinion. If you want to buy it and waste your money, please feel free to go ahead. And speaking about going ahead, coming in at number 4 is Battlefield Hardline. Now you may ask, why is this game even on the list? Well, for starters, it lacks a ton of content. It has less games, less vehicles, and very, very less things to do in general. I mean, it's just so less, it feels like it's a mini version of the actual Battlefield game sold for a full retail price. It's basically just cops versus robbers with an unimpressive storyline that I couldn't care less about. It's just boring to say the least. And we feel that you can't just charge people a full retail price for a game that's just a small part of a bigger game. And that, my friends, is why this game is even on the list. And I'm pretty sure most of you who played this game will agree with me, and if you don't, please feel free to let us know in the comments why you don't. Making its way to number 3 is the Lucius II, The Prophecy. Now I know that most of you have no idea what this game is, and for those of you who do, you'll probably agree that it's a pretty bad game. Lucius II, The Prophecy is a horror game that tries to scare you and fails miserably. It looks like the developers have learned nothing from their previous attempts, which was the Lucius 1, in case you're wondering what it was. And the visuals still look bad and the gameplay is average at best. The fear factor just isn't there. It's a horror game and it has no fear factor. Don't mistake me. It's not as if the game doesn't try. It tries very hard. Now I understand that it's difficult to produce a fear factor when you're the actual demon, but come on. In contrast, even Taken looks a lot better than this one. The AI of this game is so dumb on so many levels that your enemies just end up running around you instead of making any actual impact. Ugh, I don't even want to speak about the glitches and the bugs. It's like people intentionally run into walls and get stuck when they're doing that. Don't get us wrong, we like the idea. I mean, it's a great concept, but the execution is just too darn poor. It's like they don't want us to take them seriously. Right from the visuals to the gameplay to the graphics, everything fails miserably to even consider it as a decent game. And with all that rant, let's move on to number 2. Afro Samurai 2 Revenge of Kuma. The Afro Samurai 2 disguises itself to be a hack and slash game with a moveset so limited that even the enemies in it don't give it a damn. I mean, seriously, they don't even move. They just stand there. And to top that off, the game is plagued by frame drops. Come on, guys, the game isn't that graphically intensive. Frame drops in a game like this? Ugh. Not only are the graphics and performance bad, but the soundtrack is pathetic as well. Important dialogues are barely audible during the cutscenes because the great developers of Afro Samurai 2 decided that the crappy BGM musics are more important than the actual dialogues and turned the BGM musics way up to an extent that the dialogues aren't even audible. In fact, this game was so bad that publisher versus Evil realized how bad this was and just decided to take it down and refund everybody's money. Not only that, he also canceled the extra 2 episodes that they had in the pipeline. It's nice to see a publisher respecting their customers for a change. Way to go, versus Evil. But please, make great games instead of just making bad games and refunding us the money. That way we'd be even happier. And yes, finally, number 1. If you stayed with us so far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you feel like you want to watch more, getting subscribed would be a great idea and the best way to tell us that you want to see more of us. This. So yeah, get subscribed if you want to watch more. And here it is, the number 1. Alone in the Dark Illumination. Alone in the Dark Illumination is one heck of a pathetic game. It has absolutely no voice acting whatsoever and almost no music. Not only does it throw the physics out of the window, but it's not even what the title says it is. First off, it's a co-op shooter, meaning that you really aren't alone. And secondly, you have to find your enemies by throwing light at them, so you aren't really in the dark as well. I mean, it's alone in the dark and you're not alone and you're not in the dark, and what does this game actually do? The game is so poorly executed that enemies can actually shoot you through the walls. I mean, that's a wall right there. How can you shoot me through a wall? God damn it. Games like these are bad and infect the entire gaming industry by milking money out of the trust of few faithful followers. Just do us a favor and stop making games like this. That's so much more better than releasing a game full of bugs and trying to fix it and ending up just giving up and refunding the money. Please don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do to us. That's the worst form of treatment we could ever receive as gamers. With all the frustration and anger vented out, I end this list of mine over here. So what do you guys think? Did you find the games that you thought were the worst ones? Or did you actually like playing some of those games? Do let us know in the comment section down below. And while you're at that, a subscription and a like probably helps. And thanks a lot guys, I really appreciate your time. May your PC run cooler and your FPS stay higher.